Are you a beginner that is overwhelmed with all the many choices we have in rulers? Which one do I get? What do they do? I am going to show you one of my favorites. It's one ruler, but you get three designs. Stick around for a few minutes and I'll show you how it works. Hi everyone, I'm Paula. Do you have a masterpiece in mind that you'd like to create? I hope that any inspiration or guidance that I show you today will help you along the way. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button below. Today I want to talk to you about a wonderful ruler that is one of my favorites that I like to recommend to all of my beginners. It is the Creative Grids 8-inch log cabin trim tool. With this tool, you can make three different blocks with it. You can make a log cabin block, you can make courthouse steps, and you can make a half log cabin block. If you take a look at the quilt behind me, these blocks were actually made using this tool. So, super easy. Let's gather up some supplies and let's get started. All right, here we are. So, in order to make these blocks, you're first going to definitely need a Creative Grids 8-inch log cabin trim tool. You'll need a rotary cutter. I suggest getting a rotating mat. I love my Fiskars. If you're going to be using scraps, definitely have a ruler available. If you're going to be using yardage, you're going to need strips that are a minimum of 1 3/4 inches wide. I'm just using 2-inch strips here. And of course, you're going to need some 2.5-inch strips to make our center squares with. Now, if you're going to be using scraps, just random scraps that you have, you want to make sure that those scraps have straight edges. So before you use them, you're going to want to make sure that all of the edges are nice and straight. Now this is ready to be used. Okay, once you have all of your fabrics ready to go, we're ready to start. So this tool is so simple to use. The instructions are extremely easy to follow. It's step by step with pictures, makes sense all the way. And on the ruler itself, it even has some of these instructions as well, like how wide your strips need to be and how large your center square needs to be. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get some center squares ready to go. I am going to make one of each of these blocks, so I'm going to need 3 center squares. Okay, so we're going to just take our center square and we are going to pick out 2 light colors and we are going to put those in place. I'm just going to go ahead and just chop some pieces off of these. And the first step is just lining up those 2 raw edges on the 2 shapes. And we are going to take this over to the machine and we are going to do a 1/4 inch seam. My stitch length is going to be about a 2.0 so that I can cut through them and it won't unravel too quickly. Okay, so I'm just going to put these underneath my presser foot and away I go. I'm going to take this and I'm going to just finger press this open. With the strip that I just added toward the top, I'm going to take this next strip, put it pretty sides together, and sew this in place. So now what we have is something like this. I went ahead and I've ironed both of these back. With that, I'm going to go ahead, take my ruler and my rotary cutter, and I'm going to cut off the excess of the first strip. That gets rid of some of that bulk back there. Now with the last piece that we added to our center square up at the top, I'm going to grab one of our dark colors and I'm going to add one to these 2 sides of our center square. I make sure that I have a little extra on both sides, line up the raw edges together on the square, and sew. When I'm done adding this first piece, I'm going to go ahead and line up my ruler with the raw edges and cut off the excess. I'm going to take another piece, do the same thing. I'm going to line this up with the center square. Make sure I have a little bit of excess hanging out on both sides. Take this over to the machine and sew a 1/4 inch seam. Now, as a beginner, if you're having a hard time holding on to these pieces, what I want you to do is I want you to line up the raw edges of the square and your strip together, And I want you to take a couple of pins, and I want you to put a pin at the top and at the bottom. And if it's just a little too long for you and you feel more comfortable, go ahead and put one in the center as well. Just make sure that those raw edges are lined up really nice. And so a 1/4 inch seam. When you're done, you're going to take it over to the iron and iron it back. So now your square looks like this. This is where the magic of this tool comes into play. So you're going to basically take your tool and you're going to notice that there are 3 distinct squares here, each marked with a round number. This is considered round 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our tool and we are going to line up our center square to the best of our ability with the square that says round 1. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you're going to go ahead and trim on those 2 sides. You'll rotate your mat and do it again. You're going to line up your center square with round 1. You want to make sure you have a nice 1/4 inch clearance there. Our square is nice and centered, and I'm going to go and clean up these 2 edges. Now our block is ready for round 2. So with that, we're going to grab our light pieces again, and we are going to grab 2 pieces, one to go here and one to go here. We're going to line up the edge of our strip with the edge of our block. I'm going to have a few pins here just to hold it in place. So a 1/4 inch seam, iron it back, and add the next strip. Don't forget to trim away the excess on the back. There we have it. Now we're going to go ahead and add 2 more pieces. Now here's a pro tip for you. If your pieces start to get a little on the long side and you want to make sure that you're doing it nice and straight, you can go ahead and just trim the last tail away. Just line up your ruler along the edge of your block and cut the remainder off. You're going to grab the next piece that you want to work with. It's going to be a dark. I just eyeball it. You're going to line those up, place some pins, and sew a 1/4 inch seam. And again, if you want to get those tails out of the way, just line up the ruler with the edge of your trimmed block and cut those 2 tails away. Put the next piece pretty side down. Place some pins to help you. 1/4 inch seam. And iron these back when you're done. Now you're ready for the tool for round 2. You're going to line up the center square with round 2 center square. Just like this. But this time too, you're going to also look at these other lines for this seam right here. And make sure that that is pretty square as well. Trim the excess away. Rotate your block and line everything back up again. You're going to line up your center square and you're going to line up this other seam line with the round 1 lines. Make sure that you still have a good 1/4 inch evenly around the 2 outside edges. Hold on to it and trim. Now here your round 2 is done. Now for your last round 3, going to do the same exact process all the way around. First your light colors, then your dark. And remember, the rule of thumb is the last strip that you added is at the top. Then you add on the right. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, post a comment in the comment section below, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a single step in future videos. Love what you see? Don't forget to join me live on Twitch for interactive tutorials and real-time fun, Monday through Wednesday. You'll find my channel link in the description below. Now you're ready to trim your final round. You're going to line up your center square with round 3. You're also going to make sure that your lines around round 1 look good, and your seams on round 2 with the lines look good, hold on to it and trim. And just like that, your block is done, and it's perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and make the courthouse steps block. And what I'm noticing is as I build this block out, you have to do 2 sides at a time. Okay, so you're going to put 2 strips opposite of one another, and then you're going to trim those up completely. All right, before you add your next 2 pieces. You'll trim very, very similar to the first log cabin block that we did. There we go. Now you're going to add the other 4 sides. So after each of these half rounds, I do notice that you need to trim off your sides. It just makes it so much easier for the next 2 pieces. We're going to pick up our trim tool and we're going to trim round 2. And again, concentrating not only on the center square lines, but also on round 1. Once round 2 is done, you're going to add your other 4 pieces on for round 3. We're going to make sure to clean up these edges before we add our final strips. Using our ruler, we're going to trim our final round. And now for our final block, the half log cabin. So for this one, I noticed I definitely needed to be trimming with the first piece. So with this block, you have to use this other centering square that's over here. And I am going to start it out with this guy. And then we're going to flip it around and we're going to use this round 1 and clean up this other side. Okay. And here's our final block. And here's what some of your projects could look like. The log cabin, courthouse steps, and the half log cabin. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you're interested in picking up a Creative Grids ruler for yourself, you can find a link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I can't wait to see you next time. So until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Happy quilting. Bye, everyone.